Viewer, I want you to take a very, very close look at the two pictures that I'm putting on my screen right now. These two pictures. That is young Nilesh Rai, just 26 years old. And that's his lifeless body sprawled in a puddle in India's capital, Delhi. Nilesh was fatally electrocuted in the heart of Delhi, and here's what he leaves behind. Nilesh was a UPSC aspirant. He had cleared the civil services preliminary exam and was also to appear for the mains just 2 months from now. This would be Nilesh's 5th attempt to crack the UPSC. Unlike many of his friends and flatmates, young Nilesh was determined to join India's civil services. He saw that as the only way to realize his personal dreams of contributing to a better India. And in his difficult journey towards that goal, he was cut down by an electric wire right outside the flat where he spent sleepless nights studying in the hope that he would crack the UPSC exam on this upcoming 5th attempt. Hailing from Deoria in eastern UP, Nilesh was far from home and a loving family, but determined that joining India's civil services was the only way to make him and his family move to the next level while playing a role in pushing India forward. Even death happened when Nilesh was working towards his dreams. He was returning from a library he visited daily to study when he moved an iron gate with his hand, something anyone would do in the place where they lived, in their mohalla, in their colony, only to be killed on the spot by a fatal jolt of electricity that had no business flowing through that gate. In that image of Nilesh's crumpled body lies the death of many dreams, not just his own. Nilesh had worked hard to pursue an engineering degree in Bengaluru, and then, despite excellent job opportunities, he became laser-focused, almost obsessed with joining the civil services. So who is to blame for young Nilesh's sickeningly untimely death? Were Nilesh alive, he probably would have chuckled at the irony of being murdered by the kind of thing he would have wanted to fix as a civil servant. Nilesh's death is not just the loss of a bright and promising young man, it is a ferocious indictment of the Delhi government's abject failure to ensure the safety and well-being of its citizens. It is a reminder of civic rot, civic negligence, and civic apathy that borders on the murderous. This isn't an isolated incident, but a symptom of systemic negligence that demands immediate and unequivocal accountability. Nilesh Rai was not just another UPSC aspirant, viewer. He was a symbol of hope, of hard work and perseverance. His life was cut short, just 26 years old, not by fate, but by blatant disregard for basic responsibility that the Delhi government owes to each and every one of its people. Why was Nilesh's death preventable? Was it preventable, you're wondering? The answer lies in the government's chronic impulse, the Delhi government's chronic impulse to shift blame and it's not us attitude towards public safety. Whether it was inadequate healthcare facilities, lack of proper infrastructure, or failure in ensuring a safe living environment, the government in Delhi has failed on multiple fronts, on multiple crises. Nilesh Rai's death is a direct consequence of this incompetence, and it's high time the authorities are held accountable. The Delhi government has been quick to pass the buck, blaming everything from bureaucratic hurdles to federal oversight. This deflection is not only infuriating now, but also a stark reminder of the pervasive culture of evasion and irresponsibility. Try giving Nilesh's parents the usual political excuses. Nilesh's lifeless body has evoked a wave of public anger. The viewing public wonders, on a broad level, what we pay taxes for. Why politicians across parties duck all accountability when they cannot even ensure a safe city to live in. And this is India's capital we're talking about. Nilesh Rai may be dead. His personal dream may have ended. But do we allow the politicians to just wait for the story to blow over? or do we ensure a dead UPSC aspirant gets the justice that he deserves?
Civic apathy takes yet another life, this time in the national capital. 26-year-old Nilesh Rai was electrocuted near Patel Nagar metro station in Delhi on Monday. Nilesh suffered electric shock after he touched an iron gate in a waterlogged area. Incidentally, a live wire was in contact with the gate. Nilesh was rushed to the Ram Manohar Lohia hospital, where doctors declared him dead. The accident took place on the lane in front of his PG accommodation.
बारिश हो रही थी और वो लड़का जा रहा था और मैं थी, तो मैं कह रही यहाँ आसपास तो कोई नजर नहीं आ रहा था कि ठीक है। हमने इधर देखा पहले, मैंने कोई किसकी चीख आई है, जहाँ किसकी चीख आई, फिर हमने ऐसे देखा उसको जाके, तो वो इस पर दोनों हाथ उस पर चुपके हुए थे.
You can see the road behind me. This is barely an hour's rainfall and there is water that you can see seeping out. There's very bad and poor drainage system that we have already seen in the national capital. Adding to that, when there are loose wires that are hanging out, taking the loss of lives of people, it's an extremely serious issue, posing a question to the authorities of the national capital of the country. Is this how people are supposed to die? Isn't this a bare minimum on the part of authorities and government to ensure that before the onset of monsoon, proper checks and balance are done, that there's no loose wire hanging, there is no such electrocution situation that could actually happen out of it? These are the basics that you expect out of a government, because if that is something that they are failing in, they're failing a lot of people over here.
Nilesh had been preparing for his fourth attempt at the UPSC exam. While he couldn't clear the preliminary exams the last 3 times, he did so this year and was studying for the mains. A civil engineering graduate from IISc in Bangalore, he hailed from Ghazipur in Uttar Pradesh. His demise has left his family shattered.
लोग कह रहे थे कि बिजली विभाग को फोन किया गया, हाँ, किसी ने फोन नहीं उठाया वहाँ पर। आधा घंटा तक पड़ा रहा, आधा घंटा तक जिंदा था। अगर उस समय अगर तुरंत रिएक्ट किया होता बिजली विभाग ने, रिस्पांस किया होता तो शायद बच सकता था।
The Delhi government has ordered a probe into the incident.
इस पर एक इंक्वायरी ऑर्डर करी गई है। मैंने चीफ सेक्रेटरी को आदेश दिए हैं कि इस पर जांच भी करी जाए कि कौन जिम्मेदार है इस प्रकार की घटना के लिए, और दूसरे ex gratia relief के लिए आदेश दिए।
Over 10 days, a woman was electrocuted in similar circumstances in Delhi. 26 people died in nearly 50 incidents of electric shocks last year in the capital city alone. The rising deaths have, however, had no impact on an administration in slumber. With Shreya Chatterjee and Himanshu in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
And the Delhi government has become a past master, as you've noticed, especially if you live in Delhi, viewer, of shifting the blame. No matter what the crisis that visits Delhi, and believe me, there are many, it's always somebody else's fault. Take just a few examples now. Waterlogging, which is the result of a lot of rain, and that's what actually resulted in Nilesh Rai's death because of those electric wires. The Aam Aadmi Party government has blamed maximum flooding happening in NDMC areas, that's the New Delhi Municipal Corporation, which they say is under the BJP-led centre, which is true, but it's also a symbol of not taking responsibility. After all, Delhi is under you. The water crisis, chronic water crisis, the AAP government says water supply is blocked by the Haryana government. You even had the water minister sitting on a dharna for this. Pollution, which is a terrible period of Delhi's year, which happens just around Diwali. Stubble burning in Haryana and UP, which the AAP government had promised to solve, which they haven't done so far. And finally, flooding. Again, the excuse there is water released into the Yamuna by the Haryana government. The impulse is always to finger point away from the government rather than say, we are in power, we will take responsibility, and we will make things better. Not once has that happened. So we're wondering what excuse will be there this time with Nilesh Rai's death. The questions we're asking, who is responsible for young Nilesh Rai's death? Who will explain to his parents or will it be the same old excuses? Will heads roll for Nilesh's death? Will it be some small fry in the Delhi Vidyut Board or some other small agency? Or will someone in a genuine position of responsibility pay some kind of price? Will the AAP government pass the buck on Nilesh's death like they have with so many other things in Delhi? And the biggest question of all for the people of Delhi, because this happened in Patel Nagar, a central part of the national capital, is Delhi a death trap for all? Is everyone vulnerable to dying a meaningless death as part of an urban decaying system in the national capital? Shreya Chatterjee has been reporting relentlessly on the Nilesh Rai death story since early this morning. Shreya, has any action been taken so far? We know an investigation is on. We heard the Aam Aadmi Party minister. We have to say accidents can happen. It's difficult in a city as big and complicated as Delhi. But this is a symbol, once again, of urban rot, urban decay, and political apathy.
Well, absolutely, Shiv. We haven't really seen any action as of now, apart from an FIR that has been registered by the Delhi police since morning, because I was here. I saw the Delhi police come, they checked one of the dangling wires, they cut the wire and took it as evidence. But as you were rightly saying, that can we really call this an accident? Because it doesn't look to me on the ground. Because Shiv, if I can give you a picture of this exact spot where Nilesh actually died, you can see how the gutter over here is broken. This is precisely why, while he was walking in the lane, his leg slipped in the gutter and he had to hold this iron gate. So it's not just about electricity passing through an iron gate, it's also about your basic amenities like gutters lying broken, because of which people, lead to such unfortunate incidents. So this is no way an accident. This is a death trap. This is a responsibility of the authorities on the ground, because in this very location, Shiv, there are several students who study. If this is something that we cannot offer in the national capital, God forbid the rest of the part of the country then.
The Aam Aadmi Party government has, announced an investigation, etc. But, this is clearly not the first time something like this has happened, Shreya. It's only a reminder of how dangerous things can be anywhere. The place where a young Nilesh died is a very common kind of residential mohalla that all of us are familiar with. This could, this has scared people because it can happen to anyone.
Well, absolutely. And I spoke to a lot of students. They said that some of their parents suggested that please come back. This is absolutely not safe, because just to give an understanding, yes, this looks like a lane, but it's barely a 10-step walk from the Patel Nagar metro station, which is one of the most busiest metro routes in the central Delhi region. So clearly you can understand that if here we can see the condition of the roads and wires dangling like this, then the rest of the part of the Delhi must be in a very difficult shape. And only when such incidents happen, we see authorities suggest that action will be taken, but those actions never really meet any end.
Thanks very much, Shreya. Keep tracking that story. Justice for Nilesh is not something that we're going to be taking lightly. There is nothing that's happening on the ground to suggest that the system is moving into top gear to ensure that something like this doesn't happen again and justice is served. But what is really the point? I wanted my viewers today to also hear from friends of Nilesh Rai. Remember, Nilesh lived with other young men who were also taking competitive exams. Nilesh had decided that he was going to continue with his attempts to crack the UPSC. This was his 5th attempt. He had cleared the preliminary exams. He was going to take the main exams in just 2 months. Shreya, you've got some of Nilesh's friends with you. What are they saying about this?
Yeah. Whatever is asking.
I think Shreya's given. Can you hear me, sir? Darshad, can you hear me?
You're not patched?
Darshad, can you hear me?
Sir. I can hear you.
Okay, Dashrath, you were a friend of Nilesh Rai.
Yes, sir, absolutely. I'm here.
You were a friend of Nilesh Rai. Can you
Yes,
tell
sir.
us about, what your thoughts and what your sentiments are right now? You have lost a friend. We are all feeling very, very angry about what we're seeing on our screen right now. Tell us about what happened and tell us a little bit about Nilesh.
Exactly, sir. What has happened is very tragic moment. We aspirant fraternity, we are here to show some sort of solidarity, and we need some sort of support from the authorities as well. And what has happened, sir? It was around afternoon 1:30 p.m. and it was raining. And at the same time, Nilesh was passing over from that particular gate, and there the incident took place. At the same time, he was screaming, and no one was here, and I was about to hear his voice, and we started switching off the lights and all. But we tried to reach the authorities over here, particularly the electric board of Delhi and police as well, and particularly ambulance. Their situation, their response was very pathetic, and they are not even able to talk to us what has happened. They are failed to even talk to what has happened here, and we are struggling to reach out them, and by that time he has died, and later on the police came over here and started investigating the things, but it is a injustice and a grave injustice on part of authorities as well, sir.
Dashrath, multiple things you have just said right now, paints a very, very disturbing picture about the state of India's national capital. All of you are youngsters living in Delhi. Many of you are from outside Delhi. Even Nilesh was from Uttar Pradesh, and he had come to Delhi, to try and crack the UPSC exams. You are talking about the open sewer. You're talking about the electrified gate, ambulance not coming on time. Multiple things have gone wrong, which shows that infrastructure and administration in the city is completely broken.
Exactly, sir. This is what I was mentioning, that it is a grave mischievous from the authorities as well. They are unable to even talk to us, and they are failed to even reach the authorities as well.
Tell us a little bit. Yeah, you want to get some voices from some of the other friends around you. Go ahead, Dashrath. We can hear you.
Yes, you can hear me.
Yes, madam, if you can hear me.
Everyone
Yes,
about the
go ahead.
NCRB reports. Yeah, I can.
Yes. Go ahead, ma'am.
As we can see the statistics of India through the electrocution death. Through the electrocution death, we see that approx 32 people die every year, and the approximate ratio for an year is about 12,529 deaths per year. And it is very shocking, and it is very pathetic to know that the country like India is promising, with a promising note, it is not able to even sustain a death. Even we cannot avoid the accidental death like this.
And this is
the
India's
justification
national
of the
capital,
electrical
madam.
department
This is
and
Delhi.
the Delhi. Yeah, exactly. This is the national capital of the country, and we are witnessing such kind of incident without any proper medical facilities. Also, we see the problems, and these were the preventative causes that could be avoided with the help of the electrical division of Delhi. But it was not avoided. Also, the roads are not as such that
absolutely.
they sustain the rainfall, and the drainage system is so pathetic for that.
Ma'am, I wanted to talk a little bit about Nilesh. Did you know Nilesh personally? Was Nilesh one of your friends?
Nilesh was one such guy living over here besides my building. And after we heard that news, we were in the library, and we were shocked to know that such an incident is over here. We are also students. We have arrived from different states and different parts of the country.
Yeah.
And we did not expect the capital city, the capital national territory of India to be as such. We are also students. our life is also a significant part of our
What would
family
you-
and friends.
What would you
But
say
this
to the
is
Delhi government right now, ma'am? What would you say to the Delhi government right now? Because Dashrath, who's standing next to you, said, you know, nothing worked. Ambulance nahi aaya, the sewage, the road was not fixed, there was electric wires that were endangering people's lives and finally killed young Nilesh as well. What would you say to the Delhi government right now?
I have just one question. Is this justified? Is the life of a student is not an important resource? Being in the capital country, capital territory like India as such, being over here, and he was an civil services aspirant, as we all are. I want to raise a question to the Delhi government that these are the health facilities, these are the medical facility also. The police, I want to question the police of Delhi that
Yes.
why didn't they come at the proper time? I want to ask the question to the electrical division of Delhi that why there were absence and lack of the people, the water logging, the drainage system.
Absolutely.
All the mess is over here, all combined and gave the result like this. Thank you.
I want to thank all of you for speaking to me. I'm almost out of time on this particular segment, but it was very important for me to put the spotlight on the Nilesh Rai story because he's become the face of what urban decay, urban rot and civic apathy can actually do, especially in the hands of an administration that claims to be working for the people, that claims to be efficient, that claims to constantly be on its toes to make a better national capital, but in the end is only found shifting blame and looking for excuses. Remember this face, viewer. You're going to be seeing it on my show and here on India Today repeatedly through this week because young Nilesh has not died just his own personal dream. Like I said, the dream of millions has died. He was 26 years old. Never forget him.